Here, a coffee sachet bright and early. It's exactly what you need in your life, is a sachet of coffee. Hope you're all having a great morning. Last night we played poker till about 4 a.m. or something like that. 2:30 a.m., 2, 3, 4. I don't know when we ended. It's a pretty rough day. We bubbled, or effectively bubbled, 2 satellites for $2,500 each. I think we took like 12th place in an $88 tournament for like $500. I took 9th place in a $1,000 tournament for $7,000. And we had a big all-in to have like the chip lead with 8 left. We had ace-king against queens, and we lost in the $1,000 game. So that was a bit of a bummer. Congrats to M. Beckenbach on Twitter. He won 10% of that. We've been giving away 10% of my action on the $1,000 mine tournaments each week. Last week we gave away 10% to Johnny. Johnny won $800. This week, M. Beckenbach won $700. Pretty solid. Cash for 15 buy-ins in the $1,000 game. Unfortunately, we brick city'd everything else. We bubbled all the satellites. I think we ended up losing a little bit on the day, which is a bit of a bummer. I was in the $1,000 game 3 times. We fired the bullets. Pew, pew, pew. Fortunately, the last one paid off. Today, we're going to be discussing knowing what you sign up for. It's very important that you have a reasonable idea of what you sign up for when you sign up for it. It's very, 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 very important because a lot of people don't. Yesterday, in the chat, someone came. We were on a 5-minute delay, okay? Keep this in mind. We're on a 5-minute delay. Someone comes, and they go off about how America's Card Room, unlicensed, unregulated, illegal poker site, did not pay them back when it came out that they were playing heads up against bots. First things first. If you play or patron an unlicensed, unregulated, illegal gambling site, why in the world would you expect for that site to protect you, of all people? That makes literally no sense. When you play on an unlicensed, unregulated, illegal gambling site, they're not looking out for you. They're just trying to make as much money as they possibly can. And this person went on and on for like 4 minutes before he realized, oh my God, Jonathan Little is not sympathetic towards me. Why would I not be sympathetic towards you? Because you should have known what you signed up for, right? Whenever I am streaming on these sites, I make it very clear, this is not what most people should be doing. Because your money is very much at risk. Very, very, very much at risk because there's a chance they're not going to pay you back eventually, right? Also, there's a chance you're going to get colluded against. There's a chance you're going to play against bots. There's a chance for all sorts of bad things to happen. And by playing on these unlicensed, unregulated, illegal sites, you open yourself up to that. And I have no sympathy for anyone who loses their money in a scenario where they should have known better. The problem, though, is, this is the tough part. This is the tough part. It's very important. Should you have actually known better? That's the hard part. Oh, so should you have actually known better that you were playing on an illegal gambling site that doesn't really care about you in the least bit? The tough thing a lot of people run into, essentially, is they presume that people who represent these sites are legitimate and are actively trying to look out for you. But understand, no one, or very few people, are trying to look out for you unless you pay them. Which I know sounds a little bit unfortunate, right? But think about this, right? Why in the world would you listen to an ACR shill who gets paid $1,000 a month to promote like mad to their followers who says these sites are good and legitimate? That would be really, really dumb of you, right? That'd be really, really dumb or naive or short-sighted, right? And a lot of people fall for it, which is why you need to have good, logical, clear voices in the communities that you can actually listen to and know that they have your best interests at heart. Fortunately for you, you have me. And to be fair, I think I would be doing this otherwise, but I'll actually say that if I was not paid a decent amount of money by all of my students, I would probably not be as vocal because I know I am literally never going to take a deal from an unlicensed, unregulated, illegal gambling operation. Period. Why? Because it would be awful for my brand, number one, because I try to look out for all of you. And also, well, I don't want to represent illegal things. And I am cool with the idea that I am literally never going to get any money or deal from any of these shady sites. A lot of people, though, they kind of need to have a backup plan. Or That's perhaps the dream, to be a sponsored pro. I was listening to someone's podcast the other day, like, yeah, now I'm sponsored. Now I can do whatever I want. And it's kind of unfortunate, right? You want to make sure that you listen to people who are actually looking out for you. And this guy who put money on this illegal gambling operation probably thought the shills had his best interest at heart. They saw them, streaming on the internet. They saw them playing the poker, and they thought, oh, this person must be legit because they have a stream. And that's it's an interesting thing. ACR is not illegal. It's just unregulated. It actually is illegal. I have a podcast with my lawyer, Mac Verstandig, who knows all things gambling related. Turns out running and playing a game that operates in America is illegal. Now, what's the penalty? It's not a harsh penalty. You're not going to go to prison for playing in an illegal poker game. If they could collect if they could get a hold of Miss Maggie, I mean, they may pick her up. But anyway, it is illegal for the consumer in this instance. Will they actually prosecute you? Probably not. But they will prosecute the site if they have the opportunity, but they're never going to get the opportunity because, the people who are doing illegal things aren't stupid. They're not going to come to America. Why would you go to a jurisdiction that you are actively breaking the law every day? Okay, so ACR, obviously if you play on an illegal site, don't expect them to protect you. If you listen to a shill who's paid by these sites, don't expect them to have your best interest at heart. I put out a video a while back saying that, these sites are not safe like a bank. Be careful. Put 1 day's worth of volume in, and don't keep much more than that. A lot of people, though, well, some of the shills, I say a lot of people, the shills took offense at this. Why isn't this as safe as a bank? Well, because no poker site is as safe as a bank, especially the unlicensed, unregulated ones. Please, please, please don't be a fish. If you're a fish, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for you. I have relatively little. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of these sites are, well, very good at marketing, and ACR is no different. They're actually very good at marketing. They've done a great job at paying mediocre poker pros to promote them to their small followers and to sit there and stream all day, every day. You just joined. How did we do last night? Last night, we lost $2,500 on the day. We bubbled 2 satellites. I took 12th place in an $88 tournament. I took 9th place in the $1,000 tournament. Basically, everything went horribly wrong. And that's a bummer. That's a bummer. You want me to review a hand we played? Sure, type it in. But yeah, that was a bummer yesterday. Oh, we had some sweats. M. Beckenbach had 10% of my $1,000 tournament. He did it pretty well. He got $700. He didn't even know he got it. Congrats to him. Okay, so ACR bots. Obviously, if you sign up to an illegal gambling site, you're gonna get hosed at some point. Is 6 Max Live beatable? If the rate's not high, absolutely. Next, tournaments. Someone else in the stream yesterday. They were observing for a few minutes. They wanted to complain about bad beats right off the bat. I lost with pocket queens to my pocket fives. I can't win against these people. Turns out this person was not putting in volume whatsoever. Volume cures variance at the end of the day. And if you are playing in games that are too difficult for you, or you are playing in games that have, well, an infinite amount of variance, you're going to have, well, an infinite amount of variance, right? And this person didn't realize that. So he observed for a while. Then after, I don't know, maybe an hour or two of watching, I just got hosed on 4 tables in a row, back to back to back, and just silly spots. And we get out the little Maggie images and all that and make a joke out of it for fun, right? And this person essentially said, oh my God, it's happening to everybody. How can you win whenever you have aces and kings and queens? They just spike on you over and over and over again. The answer is, every time they call garbage, you win. So it's very important to understand that when you play a poker tournament, you're very likely going to lose. I don't know how many entries we played yesterday. It had to be 30, 40, 50, right? I think we had 5, 6, 7 cashes. We didn't especially run great. And we still basically broke even. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you make money when your opponents make mistakes. You don't make money when your opponents play well, right? It's very, very important to understand that when your opponents play perfectly, which seems to be what a lot of fish want their opponents to do, you lose. a lot of people think that they need to be able to predict what their opponents do. I need to be able to put them on a range. If you can't put them on a range, what are you supposed to do? Well, then you just play good, fundamentally sound poker. Let's see, is the cash game challenge happening? Yeah, pokercoaching.com/cash challenge. That starts literally tomorrow. If you're a Poker Coaching Premium member, we have a tournament challenge there for you already. Would you rather have free national legalized healthcare for all or online poker legalized? Depends on what it looks, the national legalized poker looks like, and it depends on what the national legalized healthcare looks like. It's not a very good question, James. Come on, man. You got to give us a better question than that. If you're asking me just random questions, I'm not going to answer that. I have a nice list of topics to discuss today where people sign up for stuff and they don't quite know what they're signing up for. Next, so we have, if you plan on a legal site, don't be shocked if you get hosed. Number 2, tournaments. You're going to have a lot of variance and cash games, to be fair. Number 3, children. Children are something a lot of people don't quite know what they're signing up for. A whole lot of people, when they're young and dumb, they essentially think they're supposed to have kids. Now, there's nothing wrong with kids. I like kids. I have 2 kids. And I was definitely not ready for kids for a very, very long period of time. If you gave 23-year-old Jonathan Little kids, it would not have been good for one of us. Probably just me, because I have a strong sense of duty. I don't know why I have a strong sense of duty, but if you have kids, then my mind should take care of them. So I would have foregone a lot of stuff. I actually thought I was going to have kids when I was 16 years old. I was with a girl and she didn't have her period for a while, and I was like, oh my God. I was literally working at McDonald's making $10 an hour, $5 an hour, however much they paid back then. $5.35. I was getting paid $5.35 an hour. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to have to clearly drop out of high school and work at McDonald's and take care of these kids. That's what I thought when I was 16 years old. Luckily, it was just a scare. But obviously I was not ready. I didn't really know what I signed up for when I had relations with a girl, right? I was just a young, stupid kid. I mean, maybe I did know what I was signing up for, but I didn't fully comprehend what I was signing up for, right? Now we have children, and I actually had to go through a deep amount of thought to determine if I actually wanted to have kids. Because in reality, like, they're a big burden. Kids are going to really hamper your career possibilities, right? And that's just because they take an immense amount of time. Kids become your hobby and your job to some extent, right? So if they're going to become your job and your hobby to some extent, do you really want that? I mean, you're going to find that whoever the best poker player in the world is almost certainly does not have young children, period. Because they take literally all of your time unless you're just not going to actually focus on them. I think a lot of people, though, they don't quite understand what they are signing up for. And they think, oh, maybe my spouse is going to take care of them. Or they think this will be easy. Or they don't think anything. They just pop it in there and see what happens. And that's not especially optimal, right? You always want to think things through. Next, relationships. Whenever you sign up for any relationship, this could be with a significant other, it could be with a business partner, it could be with fans, right? Whenever you engage someone, not when you get engaged, but when you get engaged too, but whenever you converse with someone, to some extent, you are signing up for something. For example, whenever people post bad beats on Twitter at me, very often I will say, congrats on getting it good. Did you enjoy it? Or something along those lines. It's a little trolly, I know. But to be fair, did you enjoy winning a lot of equity? And they say, no, I got it. I was until I lost, or something like that. And, you know, I'm not sure how people are going to actually respond to that, but I don't really care, because if you're whining about bad beats on the internet to someone you don't know and you've never actually interacted with in real life, what do you want from me, right? And I mean, I realize that may actually turn off some people. And that's okay. I don't want to deal with people who are crying about bad beats, right? That's just not what I need in my life right now. And I'm okay with that. Whenever you post on Twitter, this person slow-rolled me, I don't like them at all, blah, 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 like someone did a while back. Or, oh my God, this site doesn't function properly, blah, 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 like some other people did. You are signing up for something. That may turn off some people. Do you want that? Quite often the answer is no. You don't want to just turn off people because you're tilted, right? Just because you're tilted and annoyed, you do not want to act like a baby is what it amounts to. You do not need to act like a baby. And when you engage with anyone in a non-professional way, that is probably not going to work out well for you in the long run. Next, commitments. Jonathan Little has a problem with this one. Jonathan Little, at least in the past, would commit to stuff pretty quickly if he thought it was a good idea. I have this thing called the Inner Circle I do. I have a webinar coming up in 45 minutes where I basically have a 3-hour-long webinar 2 times a month. That's actually a bigger commitment than you would think, especially when you agree to 3 years of it, which I did. And now I like the Inner Circle webinar, but it sucks away half of a day. Basically takes away a whole day a month, and I don't make any money from it. We did the math. I make like $25 an hour out the door. Clearly, I'm not making any money off this. So it's almost just like a community service for fun that no one even knows about. And that's not good. There are many things I could be doing that are better use of time. Another example, Weekly Poker Hand podcast. Sometimes it comes around. I don't really want to make that Weekly Poker Hand podcast, but I do. And that is okay. I understand what I signed up for, right? When I signed up for things like the Weekly Poker Hand podcast, I know that this is going to take an hour of my life every week. That's okay, period. Hard stop. A lot of people don't realize that. But what a lot of people do wrong, I think, is that a lot of people, they think that they know what they're signing up for, but they don't. They think that, for Inner Circle, for example, they think that 4-hour block that they have to block out every 2 weeks is just going to be fine, right? It'll be fine. How hard could it be? Turns out, though, whenever you start to get more and more and more things going on in life, inevitably, they start to pile up. For example, we make articles for Card Player. We make videos for Poker News. We make Weekly Poker Hand. We make the Inner Circle. We make poker coaching quizzes, poker coaching classes. We try to manage the whole rest of the business, right? We do articles for newspaper syndicates. We do videos for YouTube. All this stuff is just routine. You got to do it all the time. And that starts to take up like 4 days a week. Now, like, oh my God, I have 4 days a week of routine stuff, and none of it really pays a whole lot of money. We're doing it just straight up for fun, right? And over time, if you don't prune things and cut out things that are just not so beneficial or things you don't actually love doing, you're going to end up being unhappy and burnt out. So I've had to go back and cut out things. Now, I'm not going to cut out things that people paid me for that I agreed to do, like the Inner Circle, right? I'm not going to cut out that, but stuff like making a blog post every week. I prided myself. I wrote a blog post every week for like 3 years. I typed it out, I uploaded it, I made it look pretty every single week for 3 years at jonathanlittlepoker.com. You can go back and read them. Like clockwork. I would have that blog post there. And I personally took a decent amount of pride in the consistency of doing good work. However, each blog post got like 500 viewers who read it. Which you may say, oh, 500 readers, that's actually good. Maybe it is, but at the same time I can make a YouTube video, which takes half the time, because I'm pretty quick at that. I mean, you see this show, I just turn on the camera and wing it. It takes half the time, and it's going to get 5,000 viewers. But I didn't have any routine regimen for YouTube, right? I just would do what I wanted to. So why in the world am I spending multiple hours per week making an article that gets read by 1/10 as many people as the people on YouTube? Now, to be fair, maybe the people who read the article are, in theory, call it better customers or something like that. I'm not sure. I think typically you have to be a little bit more studious to read articles than you do to watch a video, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure. Anyway, it wasn't a good use of time. So you know what we had to do? We had to kill it. We didn't kill it, because we still upload stuff, but we don't have that anymore. And you know what? It turns out a lot of things that you pride yourself on, a lot of other people don't even care about. Is this recorded? I didn't answer your question. What was your question? Apparently we need to answer Craig's question. It's very important. It's very important. Let's see what Craig's question is. Let's go find it. I bet it's going to be very, very important. So important we have to interrupt my flow here. I've got to go back. So I keep saying, how old am I now? 35, I think. I was born in 84. Can't even find Craig's question. Craig's question was so long ago, everyone. We can't even find it. Craig, type your question in again. It better be very important to interrupt the flow here. Let's see. All right, can't find Craig's question. Type it in again, Craig. It's very, very important. Is 888 a safe poker site? As safe as it can be. It's licensed, regulated, legal poker site. What do I recommend a new player learn first? Pokercoaching.com/fundamentals. It's hard to quantify how much you make off podcasts, YouTube videos, etc. because you don't know how many customers it brings in. I understand that. You became a poker coaching premium because of this show right here. Well, there you go. Thank you, Mark. I like this show a lot. I mean, this show is a good example of a commitment, right? This show, though, is very easy. And I already told you all, if I'm not available, I'm not going to do it, right? Like, say I'm traveling and playing poker, we're just not going to do it. Sorry. So you all know that right at the front. And I actually get a lot of value out of this, personally, because I hear things that you want to know about, which is important, because that lets me know the content that I should make, right? I'm not one of these people who make one course and then forget about you for the rest of their lives and just give it over to a marketing team and try to get $1,500 out of each of you. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to add value on an ongoing basis. And inevitably, this lets me know what you want. For example, you all told me you wanted heads-up content, so we're doing our best. I think we've hired a heads-up poker pro, one of the literal greatest of all time in heads-up sit-and-goes to make content for you. You all told me you want streaming from people who normally don't stream. I think we've lined up someone who is the #1 online player in the world to stream for all of you. You all said you want great online players. And so, hiring them. I'm doing my best over here. Hopefully that'll be for poker coaching members up and ready to go very, very soon. Now Craig's not going to type in his question. Go figure. How do you function on so little sleep? You didn't even stay up for the whole stream last night, and you're barely awake now. Well, this is my job. John, you was answering Christopher Cook, who keeps asking you why you folded on a 7-4-4-4-4 board. I don't know, man. Did I have an ace? Maybe I didn't read the board properly. Turns out when you 15 tables, sometimes you don't read the board properly. That said, I probably didn't have the nuts. You think all the extra work keeps me sharp? I mean, to be fair, look, I have a bit of degeneracy in me where I'll just go hard until I pass out. I was reading something the other day. It talks about how some people can take it easy. I can't take it easy. If I go on a vacation, you know what I'm doing? I'm thinking about work the whole time. It's brutal. It's probably a bit of a sickness. Fortunately for you all, I've channeled into productive things instead of, thinking about, I don't know, gambling on the stock market or sports. We're thinking about how can I help all of you, which, to be fair, it's a lot of fun. You going out? Come here. You want to say hello? Come say hello real quick.
I'm going now.
Come say hello real quick.
No. I have my shoes on right now.
Oh, that's true.
I have my shoes on because I can't walk in there.
That's smart.
I have my shoes on.
Here, want me to pick you up?
Well, that's fine.
Okay, bye. That was Mr. James. He looks so cute. He had a tie-dyed tank top on and his mask to go outside. It's great you have... That's the great thing about having a job that you love, indeed. Okay, so what else do people sign up for that they don't know what they're signing up for? I mean, look, you want to make sure you're not signing up for anything that's tedious. The thing is that very often you don't know what you're signing up for when you do. Again, this is the problem, right? People play on an illegal gambling site and think, oh, this is safe because random small stakes shill said it was safe. And I hate to break it to you, that's just factually not true, right? So you get deceived, or you think you know something, but in reality you don't, and that's a problem. All right, what other commitments do we have? Your job. Your job's a real commitment, right? If you don't like your job, that's clearly a problem. In most places, though, you're allowed to quit your job. And the thing is, I think a lot of people kind of get pot committed to their job. They think that whatever job they have, unless it's a very obvious, I don't know, call it a stepping stone job where you're going to move from this one to somewhere else. A lot of people think that is a job they must stick at forever. They think whatever they're doing right now is their career. Period. And in reality, most people change careers a decent amount of the time, right? There was some study, I think it came out recently. It says people have something like 4 or 5 careers in their lifetime now, whereas back in the day they had 1. You got a job when you were 18 years old or 16 years old, and you worked that job until you were retiring age, and then you were done. Period. And if you had to change at some point, you just got crushed because you would lose whatever raises and pension benefits and all that you had. And that is not the world we live in whatsoever anymore. Now it's the gig economy to some extent, right? And I mean, that could be good or bad. We're going to see down the road. But understand that what you're doing today is not necessarily what you have to be doing long term. People always ask me, what are you going to do after poker? As if I'm just going to pack it up and quit. I know a lot of the content makers of the past just got bored and quit. That's because they weren't actually committed to all of you. See, I have a big motivating factor here, and that is I like helping all of you succeed. Whereas a lot of the other content creators just want to try to get rich off of you and take money from you. And I understand that, like, you don't get that anytime soon. You got to sit here and grind it out. So understand what you're actually signing up for, and understand that it's okay to reverse things sometimes. When do you think the Tournament Masterclass is going to We're going to be coming out. Again, I've committed to making this thing. It's probably 3/4 finished. When's it actually going to be released? I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't know what's going to be released. I'm not going to commit to a date. You want to know why? Because I've learned not to commit to dates on things like this. You can spoil it a little bit and say it's coming. Don't commit to a date, though, unless it's done. I have this problem sometimes. Like, for example, this 14-day cash game challenge. We promoted this thing. This thing's starting tomorrow. Period. Hard stop. Yet it wasn't done yet. I'm like, oh, no, that's not good. We have this 14-day cash game challenge. We're definitely doing it. But it wasn't finished until yesterday. And I don't even know if it's completely finished yet. That's a little bit close for Jonathan's little timeline, but I trust my team to get it done. Would 4 of a kind with an ace kicker beat, say, 4 of a kind with a king kicker? Yes, it would. You play your best 5 cards. 4 of a kind with an ace is the nuts. Unless, of course, there's another 4 of a kind available. All right, let's see. I posted a range pre-flop after limp call. Would it be a big mistake to raise all hands you want to play? Are you kidding me? Did you not watch my webinar? I literally went through this. This is why I have the homework at Poker Coaching. I give my answer, then I go through, for about an hour, the other answers of the students to show common mistakes. And we specifically went through this. I'm not even going to answer that. You need to go and you need to watch the webinar, please, before you ask the question. There are guys making 10 to 15K a month from low to medium stakes games. Yeah, you can make 100K a year playing small stakes games, just grinding hard. Did I even sleep? Yes, I slept. I went to bed at 4 a.m. I woke up at 6:30. How do you function on so little sleep? I'll take a nap later. John says, to be fair, we have seen 5 of a kind on ACR. That is true. There has been 5 of a kind on ACR dealt. So, who knows what's going to happen. Poker Coaching Premium is the best resource you've seen. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. All right, this is a big tip for commitments. You want to make sure they are reversible, if at all possible. Now, I understand some things you don't really want to make reversible, like let's say getting married, right? A lot of people don't want that to be easily reversible. But at the same time, you do want things to be somewhat reversible. I think a lot of people commit to things they don't quite understand what they're committing, when they don't understand what they're committing to. Like say, for example, when you buy a house, right? When you buy a house, you're kind of locked into that for like 5 to 7 years. Because if you sell it early, you're just going to get hosed hard on the realtor fees, the buying and selling fees. You're going to lose a large chunk of money. And that is not good. You don't want to lose a large chunk of money. So what do you do? Well, understand and ask yourself logically, am I actually where I'm going to be for a long period of time? We're dealing with this right now. My wife had a job in Manhattan, right? We lived walking distance to her work. Everything was good. She thought she was going to be there for a long time. And well, now she's not. And since then, she had 2 jobs. She didn't really expect to have 2 jobs, but she's had 2 jobs. One was downtown, which was like a 45-minute commute. Now she has like a very, very good job. She is a senior vice president of tax at GE Capital. And that's in Connecticut. So it's like a legitimate drive. It's like an hour-and-a-half drive each way. It's not optimal. But we thought we were going to be here forever. So we bought us an apartment. And you clearly don't want to be paying VIG on a solid 7-figure apartment to flip it. And that's not ideal. You haven't played poker live yet. You're waiting for the casinos to reopen. Well, good luck with that. We'll see when that happens. I definitely say to get experience. Play online right now. Study a lot. Check out pokercoaching.com. We have a cash game challenge happening right now. PokerCoach.com/cash challenge. Make sure you check that out. So if you don't really know where you're going to be, how do you decide between renting and buying? And the answer is it's tough. You never really know. To some extent, you just have to make the most of the situation you're in and make your best logical deduction. For example, we thought my wife was probably going to be at that job for a long time. So, did our best, right? And now ideally, what do? Do we stick it out here? Do we move elsewhere? It's tough to know. It's actually tough to know. And now there are pros and cons, right? Sell this place, lose some vig, move elsewhere that's better. Where do we move? Do we move near our job? Do we move near our parents, et cetera, et cetera? And it's always tough questions. So if you are a young person and you are not very, 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 very stable at this point in time right now, I would tell you probably want to rent. And you may say, but don't I want to buy a place and keep some of that equity? Not necessarily. It was the dream for everyone I grew up with to grow up, get a college degree, work at a reasonable job, and buy a house. I ran into a problem, though, because I already kind of did that by the time I was 19. So what do I do now? And the answer is, I don't know, right? If you've already kind of succeeded at the standard game, what are you supposed to do? And I ended up with this house in Florida I didn't even really want. I thought I won, and I won something, but it wasn't really what I wanted. To be fair, I still don't even know what I want today, right? Want to grind it out, die happy, I guess is the answer. Do good work and die happy. But buying the house in Florida was a horrible mistake because in reality, I took the money and I had it locked up in this house in Florida that I didn't even really want to live in because I wanted to be in Vegas, right? When I was young kid. And that sometimes puts strain on my bankroll. Turns out having 100-something K locked up when you only have 300 or 400 or 500K could be bad. Luckily, it never really crushed me having the money locked up. Like, imagine I had to sell the place and move. That takes a lot of time and effort. And then if I have to, pay the vig, that takes a lot of effort. And it could have been a big mistake. Yet, everyone thought that was a dream, to buy a house. And I'm not so sure that's actually true. Unless, of course, you can do things like rent it out. Now you have things like Airbnb, or you can rent it out to a long-term renter, worst case, and roughly break even. And there are way more options today than there were back in the day. But back in the day, you really didn't have very many options. You have to pay a rental company a bunch of money, which is what I ended up doing, paying a rental company to rent the thing out. And it's clearly not optimal. How do we finish in the $88 game? I don't even know. I think we took 12th place or something. We had a bunch of almost good things happen yesterday. We bubbled 2 satellites. That paid $0 each. We took 9th place in the $1,000 tournament for $7,000. We took 12th place in the $88 game. Basically got a bunch of slaps on the rumpus. I think we lost $2,000 out the door. That was a lot of fun. We had our best cash yesterday in a World Series event. Congrats. Good job. Good work. So anyway, how do you manage to not get yourself in trouble by making commitments? And I think the answer is just figure out a way to not have them really commit you. And you do that by making things reversible. For example, if you have a spouse, maybe you have a prenup or a postnup or whatever. It's not exactly the most romantic thing in the world, but it could be optimal, right? Like, say I'm in love with someone like Nicki Minaj or someone like that, and you know that she likes cocaine dealers because she talks about it in her music. And she says that she loves you as well. And you're going to get together and get married. Should we get a prenup? Well, it depends on how much money you have, first off. If you have nothing and she has infinite, clearly you probably don't want to do that. But if you actually love her at this point in time, you want to look out for her best interest because you love her, right? And it's not about you. It's not about, I'm going to start dating her, Miss Nikki, with the idea that I'm going to take her half of her money one day. I presume she has some money because she talks about it very much in her musical videos. And if she has money, you may think, oh, I should just, not get a prenup, right? But in reality, if you actually do care about her, the responsible thing to do is to protect her, right? Exactly. You need to manage your finances properly. And you should manage her finances properly as well. And a lot of people don't think like this, right? They don't think, if I actually care about this person, I want to make sure that they don't get screwed if things go poorly. But a lot of people don't think like this. They just think, what about me? What about me? If I date this person and she runs off with a coke dealer, I should take half her money. And it's a weird thought process, right? If you actually think about how these things play out, in reality, if someone wants to go off with a coke dealer, and nothing against coke dealers, by the way, basically anybody else, if someone wants to go off with someone else, shouldn't you be fine with that? Why would you try to keep control? Why would you want to keep control on someone who doesn't really want to be with you? Why, right? Because you think you're pot committed. But you're not. You're literally never pot committed. You're literally never pot committed. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand. We discussed being pot committed on the show just the other day. And a lot of people think they're pot committed when they're not. Now, to be fair, whenever you have children, that's when you start to get kind of pot committed. And you don't really want to leave your children, unless, of course, you don't like them. But if you do like your children, then what are you going to do? I mean, if I had 2 kids with giant rumpuses, then, I would just love them so much, right? So how in the world could I run off on my little kids with giant rumpuses? You can't, right? To be fair, my kids have giant cheeks. I tell Mr. James every day, ooh, James, I'm going to get an ice cream cone and put it on your chin and eat your cheeks. And then I kiss his cheeks and he laughs and laughs and laughs. Don't make kids if you won't like that. The problem is a lot of people don't know if they don't like that. And they really love the rumpus of the female. And that gets people in a lot of trouble. So anyway, things like post-nups are touchy subjects. Why? Because they're not romantic. And you want love to be romantic, right? And it should be. But at the same time, if you actually love someone, you should protect their interests now and in the future, today. And I don't think a lot of people think like that. The thing is that you may think you have the best interest in their best interest in mind today, but you may not later if they run off with the Coca-Cola dealer, because you get that liquid flowing, and what's she gonna do? What's she gonna do? So when that happens, you may no longer have her best interest at heart. But if you actually did love her at one point in time, you should have her best interest at heart. All right. So where are we going with this? Try to make things easily reversible. Everything. There's a lot of value, though, to actually committing to something and doing what you say you're going to do. That is something that is sorely lacking in today's world. Jonathan Little, if he says he's going to do something, you can be very confident, unless somehow I just don't miss it, that I'm going to do it. Every once in a while, I'll have a coaching session or something on my calendar, and somehow I just do not see it. And I feel horrible when that ever does happen. Normally, I figure it out real quickly and we fix the problem, but if you say you're going to do something, you should do it. It's integrity to some extent, right? And I'm not sure of the exact definition of integrity, but in my mind, it's basically doing what you say you're going to do. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. You want to know a sure way to not be friends with Jonathan Little? Say you're going to do something and then don't do it. I have this problem with poker coaches sometimes. None that I work with today. Everyone I work with today is great. But some people say they're going to do something and they just straight up don't do it. Now, I understand things happen, but if you tell me you're going to do a webinar, for example, then you just don't do it, and your excuse was, didn't feel like it, and then they put all of you out, because I know you're all sitting there waiting for it to start, that's a problem. That's a big problem for me. And we're not going to work together, that's for sure. And things like, I don't know. If you say you're going to do anything, I feel like you should do it. And I think that's something that's lacking to some extent in today's world. And I'm not really sure why that happens. I'm not sure why that happens. Integrity in poker is a strange mix. But it's not really. That's the thing, is that poker is very much built on integrity. Because if you have a bad reputation, you're just going to get crushed. You're not going to win. You're literally not going to win long term because no one's going to deal with you. The thing is a lot of people have subtly screwed themselves by doing things out of line. And by, not paying their content creators, or by breaking the rules, or whatever. And when you see people doing, it's tough, because, look, I've made plenty of mistakes as a young, dumb person, and I've essentially been forgiven by the majority of the community, right? Obviously, some people hold grudges for forever for mistakes you make in the past. But I think it is possible to repair a reputation, but at the same time, you'd rather just not hurt your reputation to begin with. I mean, Justin Bonomo is a good example of this, right? He got in trouble for multi-counting a long time ago, apologized, did his best to right it, and I mean, there's still people in the poker community who hate the guy for something he did 20 years ago that he's apologized profusely for and claims he hasn't done since then. No reason to think he has, right? I've interacted with him many times, always seems to have the utmost integrity. And you have to find people who screwed up. Well, if people do screw up, you have to see if they actually care, right? There were some other people back in the day who did the multi-accounting and were like, yeah, screw you guys, I'm just going to keep multi-accounting because I can. What are you going to do? You're going to stop me? And those people, you probably don't want to be in business with because they're willing to break the rules, and it's very obvious that they are willing to break the rules. And you don't want to have dealings with people who make it clear that they are happy to lie, cheat, steal, etc., because they're willing to lie, cheat, steal other people, and you don't have a wonderful relationship with these people, like they're your child or something. They're probably going to lie, cheat, and steal against you too, if they need to. Not saying that they will, but if they need to. Let's go back to the poker sites, right? The illegal gambling sites. I don't think they're out to lie, cheat, and steal against you currently, but if they need to, I think they will. We've seen this happen many times. Ultimate Bet, they started doing it. Full Tilt, they started doing it. Lock Poker, they started doing it. Tasty Steaks, they started doing it. Cake Poker, they started doing it. It's only a matter of time before the current unlicensed, unregulated, illegal gambling sites that probably did not start out meaning to screw you will screw you. And if you're not protecting yourself, well, you're going to get screwed. And I'm not really sure if you deserve much sympathy. So you have to watch out for yourself and understand what you're signing up for. You absolutely must understand what you're signing up for. 15 left in a tournament, you're chip leading with 23 big blinds, hijack raise to 17 big blinds, you're on the button with ace, jack of spades. Is that a standard shot? Yes. What did Bonomo do? Apparently, back in the day, you could play in the same tournament with multiple accounts at the same time. Every once in a while, you end up at the same table with another one of your accounts, which is clearly not ideal. And I mean, I never actually did that, but a lot of people did that. Back in the day, I let people play on my Full Tilt Poker account because I was a young, dumb kid. I did not fully understand that was wrong. To be fair, I was doing it to just maximize rakeback, which is clearly not good either. I was essentially defrauding the site. I didn't realize I was also perhaps defrauding other people because they think they're playing against the person on my screen name. I mean, it's unfortunate because a lot of people did these things and we didn't even know they were bad. I mean, hell, the Jungle Man thing came out just 2 weeks ago where, Jungle Man's doing this exact same thing today. And it's tough because, hate to break it to you, if you're playing super high stakes games, you should expect to be playing against world-class pros who are ghosting the fish. And it's tough. It's very tough. It's very tough. I mean, that whole thing still exists. And you have to be careful. But we've all done dumb things in our past, and all you can do is move forward productively. When you see people like Jungle Man, who's had issues in the past, though, and he's still doing it today, you have to wonder. But at the same time, I mean, again, I don't know the guy. I've never interacted with him, so I'm not going to randomly speak poorly about someone. But imagine if someone did something poorly 10 years ago, and they also did something poorly 5 years ago, and they did something poorly last week. At some point, you have to know, all right, be very careful around this individual. If someone runs an illegal gambling site and they flaunt it, all right, you got to be careful around this individual. So just make sure you protect yourself when you have a clear indicator. Now, sometimes you just have no indicators. Sometimes it comes out of the blue. A few people have tried to screw me. Guess we're not going to go into it. We're kind of running low on time. I have something else to do soon. But a few people have tried to screw me, and it's kind of came out of the blue. These are just like the hardcore sociopaths who act friendly, act nice, get their claws in you a little bit, and you don't even know it. Next thing you know, their claws are sank in deep, and you're holding on for your life to try to not get crushed by these people. And well, there was a quote by Benny Binion. What is the quote? Something to the effect of like, oh, let me see if I can find it. It's a good quote. I gotta pull it up. Let's see. The quote is, "Trust everyone, but always cut the cards." Solid, right? Nothing wrong with, you should trust everyone, but, very importantly, always cut the cards, because that just helps protect you, right? Benny Binion quote, whoa, from the gangster. Legitimate, hardcore gangster, Benny Binion, an actual OG. Trust everyone, but always cut the cards. Very, very important. So, anyway, be smart. What's on your leisure reading list? Do you think Jonathan Little has time for a leisure reading list? Jonathan Little definitely does not have a leisure reading list at this point. Look, I have books over here. I have books behind that unicorn lion. We have a whole load of books. I'll tell you what they are. We have Blitzscaling. We have, what's that book called? Alchemy. We have, what's that called? Get out of the way. High Growth Management, etc., etc. Are these leisure books? These are all business books. I have a lot of business books. Another Benny Binion quote, "Take another step and I'll shoot you." That's fantastic. How much was my big downswing? I only had a few big-ish downswings. I mean, someone asked earlier, what is a downswing? What quantifies a downswing? I don't know. Who cares? Don't worry about stuff like that. Biggest downswing, I don't know, probably 500K, 400K, something like that. No, I was down 400K at one point because it was a whole lot of fun. Because I just like kept getting it into losing. Just like yesterday, just kept getting it into losing. I think 400K. But I mean, at the end of the day, what is that? Like 60, 80 buy-ins? I mean, obviously you're going to go to 60 or 80 buy-in downswing at some point in your career. That's just normal. Tough thing is when you're playing live poker, it takes 2 years, which is not a lot of fun. All right, I have to get going. Whenever you sign up for something, and realize everything you do is you signing up to something. For example, when you watch the show, you sign up to watching this show. You can quit whenever you want, but you signed up for it. And if you don't like it, well, is that on me or is that on you? It's tough to know. How do you know you're a winning player? There's a chart called a metric called EV big blind per 100. Play a lot, keep track of that statistic, and then you will know if you're a winning or losing player. For example, in tournaments, we're only up a little bit. I think we're up, I don't know, $20,000 over 6 or 7 weeks, which I guess is pretty good money. But like that's not a ton. I mean, every week we're live to just lose like 12 or 15K. So how do we know if we're actually winning? We're up legitimately 1 or 2 days worth of volume. We can just get crushed. And how do we know we're a winner? We have a solid EV big blind per 100 number. That's how you know you're a winner in high variance games like tournaments. In cash games, same story. Just have high EV big blind per 100. If you're playing live poker, yeah, you're gonna have to get in a lot of volume. And when you do go on big downswings, you want to ask, how am I losing? If you're just like losing flips, then whatever, you're gonna lose flips, obviously. If you're getting it in poorly over and over, that could be a problem. Like I had one summer where I just like got crushed in cash games. I was playing high stakes, like 100, 200, 200, 400, etc. And I just lost like every time I got it all in. And I look back at it, and I got it in against 3 outers. I think it was 8 out of 12 times that summer, which is really not all that often. But 8 out of 12 times, we got it all in. Opponent had 3 outs, and I lost like 60 or 80% of them, or some high number. And that's had a bad summer because of it, because you're losing 20K flips over and over and over again. You get it in good over and over and over again, you just lose all of them. And that happens because it was a whopping 12 times, right? Anything can happen over 12 samples. And you have to be able to look at that and realize I printed a load of equity here. And that's tough. Dawson Elliott Rowe, he has some content at pokercoaching.com. Check that out. I helped him get into poker way back in the day. I say way back in the day. It was probably only 6 or 8 years ago. But time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? We've worked with Elliott Rowe a few times. He has a chapter on my book, Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. All right, I have to go now. Enjoy yourselves. Have fun. Check out pokercoaching.com/cash challenge. If you don't play cash games, go to that link anyway and sign up, and you can get access to the tournament challenge too. Does it show EV on Hold'em Manager? Yes, it's called All-In Adjusted EV Big Blind 100. If you have any questions about Hold'em Manager or heads-up display, go to pokercoaching.com/HUD. You can get the heads-up display I use completely for free. You have to buy Hold'em Manager, but we'll give you the settings completely for free. So that's at pokercoaching.com/HUD. Enjoy yourselves, have fun, make good use of the day, know what you sign up for, click like, click subscribe. I'll see all of you again bright and early. When? Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Bye-bye.